So if that video that I stitched is not enough of a wake-up call for you, then here's your wake-up call. Stop donating your money to the Salvation Army, Goodwill, and any other chain thrift store. If you're in Colorado, that means the ARC thrift store as well. And yes, I do shop there. If you're going to shop there, buy the goods. Do not round up at any of these places. I know a number of content creators said that. You are not helping anybody. You are not helping anything. It is all a sham. Now, are there programs they donate to? Yes. But if you search out and look, you will find how much money actually goes to the people that run Goodwill and these other thrift stores. And you will see that it is not that much going to charity. Additionally, you can test this out in person. If these thrift shops were all about moving product to make money for charity, they would not be destroying and trashing what they cannot sell. In particular, and I don't know how else to say this nicely, but in particular, one of the thrift shops, I don't want to get myself in too much trouble. One of the thrift shops here in Colorado have shredders outside of their building, industrial shredders they use that shred things that they can't sell and won't sell and just decide not to. They shred them. They don't donate them. They don't give them away. They shred them and they get to write that off. And this has become a common occurrence. Some other locations, other thrift stores have trash compactors now, and it's not for your normal amount of garbage. I know there's waste in the stuff that they get at Thrift. I understand that. But the amount of clothing that gets burned, incinerated, Goodwill incinerates goods they can't sell, if you didn't know that. The process is this for Goodwill. Goodwill thrift stores, bins, what doesn't sell at the bins gets incinerated down the line. Now, they may recycle that. I'm going to give them some credit because I've asked management about this a number of times. They may move those goods to other stores to try to sell them in other cities, but the cost on that, they just incinerate it. Clothing that could be donated to homeless. They could be doing outreach. They're not. So don't round up your money anymore. Somebody's talked about this. You're basically rounding up to help them pay for their business. It's not going to people with developmental disabilities. The roundup isn't. They can say that. Technically, they can say that because it's lumped in with all the other money they have, but they're nonprofits. Additionally, if they were really worried about making money at any cost, they would bargain with their customers. They used to. Thrift shops used to bargain. Used to be able to go in and say, hey, if I buy up bunches of this, will you give me a discount rate? They're not doing that anymore. That's the thing. In addition to that, and I'm going to take this from a reseller's perspective, resellers were funding a lot of thrift shops. You can believe that or not, but the reality is resellers were buying up mass amounts of goods that would otherwise end up in the trash or end up not selling, buying it up. That money was going to the thrift shops, which were supposed to be using it for charitable events or charitable things. And then the resellers were selling it for markup. There's nothing wrong with that. Then they started to push this narrative that resellers were causing prices to go up. That is not the case. Thrift shops started raising the prices to compete with resellers. They thought they could do that. It's not doing them so well because they're having a problem selling goods. Resellers are not generally buying the expensive goods. We're passing it over. The average customer doesn't want to buy it because it's too expensive. We're talking about thrift shops charging $5 to $10 for Blu-rays and DVDs. That is ridiculous. Jeans selling for $14 to $20. Not all, but a lot of them. I went into a Goodwill in my town and I found I'm trying to remember the brand here. It was one of the plaid shirts from Walmart, the Walmart brand. It wasn't George. It was one of the other ones. I can't remember the name now. Forgive me for that. But anyway, it was kind of ratty. They were asking $14 for it. They sell for $11 at Walmart. It's ridiculous. There needs to be more regulation on the thrift shops. But now they're going to cut the bell ringers. Now, I don't like the bell ring. I never have. It's annoying. It doesn't need to be a thing. But to put an automated Venmo or Square type system outside for automatic payments is ridiculous. So it's time we put Thrift back in line to understand where their place is. They need to be putting more into the charities they're supposed to be supporting. In addition to that, they need to be opening themselves up to resellers. This will help out everything. Guaranteed. If they have thousands of dollars of product they weren't normally going to sell and they're going to trash it, they should be instead selling that thousands of dollars worth of product at reasonable prices to resellers. The more that resellers distribute those products online, the further those products will go. In addition, they will sell more through the thrift shops, generating more income. What they have effectively done is reduce the amount of income they're making, and then they complain about it. So what are your thoughts on this? What have you heard about resellers and thrifting, and what have you heard about thrift stores? And what rumors have you heard, and then what things did you once know that were once true that are now false, if that makes any sense. Because there's a lot of rumors back and forth. I do reselling full time. That is my career at this point, as jobs have just not been available. I will be glad to answer any questions you have. I am not a huge time reseller. I sell a lot. I do it full time. I think it could be better, but I'll be glad to answer those questions.